Hi guys, Kaze here. Welcome back. We're back with more Men of Yoshiwara, Utsusemi. We're on chapter 10, Lamentation. So, I wonder just how this one's gonna end. Because I don't think it's gonna end like how the others have been ending. You know? I don't. Will he go with his parents? Will he not? Will we let Ageha go in his place? I don't know. I'm so confused. Will he come home with us one day? Will we ever find out? I don't know. Anyway, let's get going before I sit here and ponder this for like forever. Let's go. The next day, Utsemi's procession had been canceled because of the killing. Okay, it says the killing, so does that mean Takigawa was killed? He said, okay, they said he was attacked, or unless they were mentioning that was one before they got attacked. And I don't know. I'm scared. Gakuto. But the plan to send Ageha to Utsusemi as its heir was in its final stages. Utsusemi owners were coming to Ohgiya again today. Gakuto had arranged for me to stay at Ohgiya as well, in order to persuade Ageha to go. Ageha, I'm begging you, can't you please just agree to go along with this? No matter what you think about, the owner has already made up his mind. Please, let me and Kaze be together. Don't be so insensitive. You're being insensitive to him too, I'm sorry, but you are. Ageha. I gently took Ageha's hand in his lap, but the boy just clenched his fist, unmoving. You're not really going to give in, are you? Utsemi looked at me and shook his head, looking exasperated. It's not long until noon. When I looked up at the sun in the garden earlier, it was already right overhead. We've gone ahead and made him a fake stomach wound with makeup. Utsemi's gaze fell on the wooden tag and dagger on the table, and then a voice came from the other side of the door. They're here. I'm hoping everything's ready here. I'll go in first and get the conversation going. Utsemi winked at me and left me with the owner. It was just Ageha and I left. Ageha looked at the wooden tag and put it around his neck, still silent. Ageha? I was surprised at his action. He smiled sadly. It's alright. Gakuto and Utsusemi are my sworn brothers. When the time comes, I'll do what I have to. He took the dagger and gave an endearing nod, but a faint shadow soon fell over his eyes. Still, there's no way I can agree with this. Even though I really do love Utsusemi. I'm so sorry, Ageha. It's so bad for him. We sat there in silence for a few moments. But he soon bravely stood up. You've done nothing to apologize for. Alright, it's time for me to go. It'd be rude to keep them waiting. Right. Ageha then left the room. My feelings were in turmoil as I followed him, watching his small, boyish back. Ageha and I went together to the room where the couple from Utsusemi were waiting. Hello, my name's Ageha. Oh. Ageha introduced himself and the couple stared wordlessly at his face. Utsusemi and the owner were already sitting in the room, having greeted the couple. So, it's time for real. You're Yoshifumi? Yes, as you've heard, I am Yoshifumi. So then this man, Utsusemi, I had him pretend to be me in my place. Is that right, Utsusemi? Yes. Ageha sat, looking dignified. Utsusemi went silently. The owner, watching them from the corner of his eyes, rubbed his hands together and spoke. You see, there was a mix-up on our part when they were children. But even at that young age, Ageha here already seemed to be so refined. We secretly always thought something was different about him. Then what happened to the dagger? I have it here. Ageha took the dagger from his pocket and presented it to the couple. This does appear to be the Utsusemi that has been in our family for generations. Yoshifumi, let Mama get a better look at your face. Utsemi's mother scooted closer to Ageha. Yes, Mother. Yes, looking up close, I feel that these are the same eyes as when he was young. Ooh, that's kind of a harsh blow. A while later, Ageha and the couple from Utsusemi had talked about his kidnapping and other things. Well, now that you've been finally reunited, we'll let you be alone. The owner smiled and stood up. Let's be going, Utsusemi. Oh, yes, of course. We left Ageha with the couple and left the room. As soon as we were gone, the owner wiped the sweat from his brow with his sleeve. I was really worried for a minute there, but the Ageha actually did pretty good. I'll leave the rest to you. Yes. The owner disappeared into the brothel, his mood bright. Utsusemi watched him with a frown. I know it isn't my place to judge, but I'm kind of feeling really disgusted right now. Yeah, I think I feel the same way. I wondered just what Ageha was feeling as he called that woman mother. I looked up at the sky, which was clear, without a single cloud. The sight filled my chest once more with the same empty feeling. Soon after, we heard the faint sound of laughter from the Otome room, and the door opened, and Ageha stepped out. Ageha? Utsusemi looked at the boy's face and from with bated breath. But Ageha only briefly looked at Utsusemi and moved his gaze to the garden's pond. No one said a word. As the silence continued, we could hear the sounds of people busy inside the brothel. It was probably the courtesan setting up the shop for tonight. Ageha finally spoke, breaking the long silence. Utsusemi and I slowly turned our heads towards his voice. Those people? When they saw the fake scar, they were totally fooled. They thought I was their real son. That went well then. Yes, it's almost like this is the first time I've ever lied. It actually is, but okay. Even after how hard it is to trick customers as a courtesan. Funny, huh? Yeah, stood disinterestedly, his voice nearly too quiet to be heard over the wind. Even the owner changed his attitude toward me again, acting so nice. I feel like I don't know anything anymore. I have no idea that even outside of this district, the world was so full of lies and trickery. He is super innocent. Don't say such sad things, Ageha. His small head nodded. I know, in the red light district that Gakuto and Semi showed me when I was little, there was more beauty and more hope. I'm so sorry, Ageha. When Semi finally opened his mouth, what came out was an apology. But Ageha was no longer crying, nor was he angry. He just quietly listened and looked at the sky. It's okay now. I couldn't make a living here anyway. Hearing Ageha's slightly trembling words, Utsusemi looked up. Then, as for your release, I don't like this plan, and I don't like forgiving you. But you, Gakuto, and Kaze, and everyone else is so deceitful. So I've decided to learn from your example and toughen up. Okay. I'm going to be happier than anyone on this island. When I looked at Ageha just then, I felt like I was about to cry. His eyes were as clear as the blue sky. A sad but beautiful smile was on his lips. So please, don't say anything else. Those people, they looked at me with eyes as kind as yours and Gakuto's. So I'm fine. Small tears were swimming in Ageha's eyes as he looked up at the distant sky. Overcome with emotion, I said, let's all be happy. I'm sorry, you've grown up. Let's all be happy. Let's all be happy, okay? If we couldn't all live in the same place, we had to at least search each of us for our own happiness. Yes, you and Utsusemi too, right? If you two don't find happiness yourself, I'll come back and haunt you. Ageha wiped the tears in the corner of his eyes and smiled. Utsusemi watched him, then quietly wiped his own eyes. After a slight pause, the door to the room slowly opened. The couple from Utsusemi looked at Ageha and smiled. Ageha's face lit up and he ran over to them. Well then, we'll return tomorrow to take you home officially. There must be people here who took care of you. Surely you want to say goodbye. Yes, father, mother. At least from where I watched a short distance away, I felt no awkwardness between them. I'm impressed. It looks like everything's going to go great. Utsusemi spoke, not to anyone in particular. There were only a few feet between us and them, but I felt that the actual distance between us was much, much larger. The sun was low in the sky as we saw them off from the brothel. It was about time for this city to change into another world. The couple, Utsumi's parents, left the red light district without waiting for that change. Utsusemi stood as if frozen in place watching them go. The rose-red sun was painful to look at. Was the man I loved always that small? Goodbye. His quiet voice sounded like that of a small child. When the couple was completely out of sight, Utsusemi slowly turned towards me. I'll walk you home, Kaze. Okay, thanks. He spoke casually, sounding like his usual self. I nodded my head and he took my hand. We walked the main street together as the sun set, his large hand pulling me along. How about we take a little detour on the way? Can we? I think the owner will overlook it today. Okay, then just for a little bit. Utsusemi grinned happily. It looked strangely like the grin of a young boy. Finally, I saw a red gate on the side of the road. We were at Yoshiwara's Inari shrine. This brings back memories. This is where I showed you the horseback archery. Do you remember? Yeah. Even now, that moment was burned into my memory. I had been captivated by the sight of him riding the horse like a gust of wind and firing his bow. When I smiled, reminiscing, he quietly laughed. It feels like so long ago. To tell you the truth, my legs were shaking right up until I got on the horse. You're joking. Of course not. I may look relatively brave, but I really had to steel myself. But your archery really was wonderful. It made me feel like I had to see you again. Yes, I was so happy you came to the brothel that night. His cheerful laughter echoed in the red sky. That night was the first time we... Please, don't say it. It's embarrassing. Is it? The smile on your face was so cute. Oh, jeez. His laughter was contagious, and a smile started to form on my lips. When I thought about it, we had all sorts of conversations in a short time. I had opened my heart to him. It was hard to believe I had been so nervous at first. Kaze. His muscular arm slowly wrapped itself around my shoulder. I'm so glad I met you. Even if I had to trick people and made them cry. I can say for sure that falling in love with you was one thing that was definitely right. Yes, I have no regrets either. I spoke slowly and I leaned into his body. The sun finally dyed the ridge of the mountains red and burned into my eyes. An unspeakable sadness suddenly crept into my heart. Even though the man I love was by my side, holding me tight, you really love me, right? Utsusemi? Kaze? We stopped reminiscing and looked into each other's eyes. The arms of the man I loved hugged me even tighter. I could feel the lips on the back of his neck. They seemed to be telling me something. I knew I had to ask him again, before the sun set and everything turned to dusk. Utsusemi? Is this really, truly what you wanted? I spoke, my lips quivering. His eyes suddenly looked above me. His reddish-brown eyes reflected the setting sun and burned as red as blood. Please, don't hide behind kindness and deception, and tell me how you really feel. Once more, my fingers reached out to touch his heart. A small fragment quivered in his eyes. What are you trying to say? Are you trying to get me to ask myself that question again right here and now? Yes, I am. You always speak with such kindness, but even though you say you've decided, I've never heard you say it from your heart. I have, more than enough. I have already told you many times. You're lying. If that's true, then why are you always holding back tears? I feel so sorry for you. And for all the crying people around you, too. My eyes burned and my voice and fingers trembled. A crevice split open in my heart. Why are you only kind to other people? Because I have no choice. Because I have no choice. His nails dug into my shoulders. I don't want anyone to hate me. I want to mean something to someone. Utsusemi. His words started to flow like a dam broken open. I always thought I had been abandoned. I had nothing, and I didn't even know my own value. So I've always lived trying to be loved by others. I'm always cheerful, always smiling, always trying to entertain people. But even to be told now that I was wrong, it's too late. I don't even know who I really am or what I want anymore. I've been living like this for close to 20 years. I can't change now. Tears gently fell from both of his eyes. They were the vibrant tears of a heart that had been stifled. You're crying. No, I'm not. Tears are just falling from my eyes. I think that's called crying. Okay. I'm sorry for making you say all that. This man, who had always cried while keeping his sadness locked up in his heart, was now crying out loud in front of me. I'm sorry for making you say such painful things, such sad things. I'm so sorry. I put my face on his chest and gently held his trembling chest. Ooh, another picture. Oh, he's really crying. It's true. I really am sad. Even me. I really do want Ageha to be happy. But I too wanted to be able to say I was their son. That I wasn't abandoned. Yes, that's right. They really loved you. They'll always love you. And they were looking for you. Yes, and that's enough for me. I found out the thing I wanted to know all my life. Uncontrollable sobbing reached my ears. I could feel the cries of his heart in my body, wrapped in his. He took a deep, trembling breath, and the arms around me grew tighter. That's why I want to walk a new path with the one I've chosen to love. I want to live with you, you who've said you could love even a deceitful man like me. Yes, Utsusemi, I'll go anywhere with you. I love you. I won't abandon you. Kaze. Sorry, I can't do a convincing cry. That lamentation, bottled up for 20 years, it was all coming out right now in his cries. The tears did not stop until the sun had completely sunk behind the mountains. The next day, the cherry blossoms that fell on Yoshiwara were terribly beautiful that day. The wind shook the magnificent cherry trees and the sky danced with pink. It seemed at last reluctant goodbye. Gakuto, Utsusemi, thank you for everything. Of course, take care of yourself. Find happiness in my place. I will. As Ageha bowed, a voice called out, We're leaving, Yoshifumi. Have you said your goodbyes? Yes, mother. Yes, father. Ageha turned his back to us. The three of them started walking towards the gate. Today, Ageha would go from being a prisoner of Yoshiwara to a regular person. He looked at us for just a moment and did not look back again. As for Utsusemi, he looked at the outside world even after the three had grown smaller and disappeared, but his gaze was clear as the autumn sky. I said, Let's go back to our home. Yes, Kaze. Will you be back tonight? Of course. We're married, aren't we? We went back inside the high walls. From now on, he would continue to live on this island, so far away from the mainland, as a man of Yoshiwara, as the only man I love. I didn't know if this life was right or wrong, but from now on, I vowed in my heart to stay ever at his side. Oh, and I started crying while doing Utsusemi's part, but I didn't cry. I did fully cry, not like what I did for Destiny's Princess. We're good. Oh, now we just have the last chapters, and hopefully we don't forever stay in Ohgiya. Like everyone else came home. Why are you not Utsusemi? Let's give him a home. I hope. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the ending chapters. Until then, Kaze out. Bye, guys.